cooler live well, and he was just so ecstatic. And I got some picture. I followed him over to the hotel, and he pulled it out, and he was just talking about fighting this fish and everything. And we're like, well, let's go release her. And he's like, okay. And all he wanted to do was get in the water with it and let it. And he was, and then he was telling me he's 20 years retired vet, and said this was the best day ever that he's had in a long time. So
where did he get it on?
He was just kind of worms in a bobber right off some pads, and just something simple, but those experiences that ingrain in people is outstanding, and that's what it's really about.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll never forget his trip to Hayward, huh?
Yeah, he was all about, I gotta find a cabin up here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move up here. I want to fish more, and he loved it. Really cool.
That's
so
great.
Working at the bait shop, you get to experience some really, kind of neat, unique things like that, as well as guiding. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about this neighborhood when you were a kid. Is it uniquely different?
It's pretty much the same. There was a huge hotel right in this corner. It's one of the oldest buildings, and it burnt down when I was in high school. We actually got the day off of school because there's so low water pressure in the
really? Okay.
in the town. But otherwise, it's other than Walmart.
And what's January 15th like on this strip?
Depends
Is there
on the
snowmobiles
snow.
all over the place? Is that the way people get around, or are they?
No, we haven't. You're gonna want to get over here. The last how many winters we really haven't had a ton of snow.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
We have the American Birkebeiner that 10,000 people ski in.
And that's a cross-country ski?
Yes, and that goes from Cable to Hayward.
Okay. How many miles?
52K, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's a sprint, like one day? They're
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
They close down, the bridge goes over here, and they put snow on Main Street, and they finish on Main Street.
And does that pack your minnow?
Yeah, that's our busiest day.
It's your busiest
Busiest
day
week
of
of
the
the
winter,
year.
of the year.
Yeah.
And you
Even compared to summertime.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have people from all over the world. It's a Olympic qualifying race, so they get points for racing it. It's definitely a big deal.
What's
Wow.
Hayward? 2,800 people.
People,
And there's 10,000 people that ski it.
Ski it.
And then how many spectators?
It's crazy.
20,000 spectators.
Yeah.
So
The water flows in and out, or is it like a pool? How does it work?
It's a lot of springs, tapping in, with like a well. So a lot of that, we're able to, produce good clean water and, being able to utilize it in the best manner and recycle it as well.
And is that nearby?
Yeah, it's not far outside of town. Yep, and then we have a farm that's outside of town, in a location to where we are able to let raise fish as wild as possible.
Okay.
Yep.
So they raise them from the actual spawn?
Spawn and egg. Yep, and then they're essentially raised right from there. And if we are trying to raise muskie suckers, they'll take a few years to get them big, and then eventually we bring them in and disperse them.
So
throughout the shops.
is muskie season waiting for the spawn to end? Do you not fish until the spawn's over, or what's the timing of muskie season?
So our season starts in northern Wisconsin, the Saturday closest to Memorial Weekend. So we actually start at the end of May. Generally speaking, with even on a typical spring time of the year, the muskies have already spawned out. They've done their thing, and the DNR does a really good job in putting together our season dates when they open or close to help protect the fish. So that aspect is really crucial. And so, in some places down south, you're able to fish during that pre-spawn, post-spawn, etc. This actually allows for the fish to do the spawn, naturally reproduce, and do its natural thing without getting messed with too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So these fish have spawned. They'll be done. They're now set up on their summertime locations. They're actively feeding in different periods of times during the day, and yeah.
And are the other fish done spawning too? Pretty much. When, in other words, will these guys cruise spawning beds and try to pick off?
Absolutely, yeah. So the spawning fish up right here on the right will be the market. I think it's a little early yet, but so they, it goes in waves essentially, and how these fish will, when they spawn, and water temperature, and light and everything is all a huge factor in when they actually do spawn. So with that being said, there'll come a time frame where we're leading into kind of the bluegills coming up into the they're up shallow, but they'll be starting to make some beds here pretty soon. So definitely as another forage base, the bluegills, or sunfish as we call it, panfish as some others may, as a broader term, will be preparing to spawn. Usually we start off early in the spring before even our general fishing opener, and we have like our walleyes and our northern pike tend to spawn first. Muskies will be shortly kind of within that range. And then once our general opener, which is actually weeks before the regular fishing opener, so walleye, bass, whether it's largemouth or smallmouth, and then northern pike will be open. We're in the northern region for smallmouth bass, so we actually have the opportunity in the early part of May to fish pre-spawned smallmouth bass. They haven't made their beds, so they're actively eating. They're fat and healthy. They're eating a ton to pack on those pounds to get ready to lay their eggs and do their thing. Eventually, there is a time frame that they do have their beds, and some anglers decide to target them. A lot of the anglers, or at least a number of the guides, do decide to leave the smallmouth bass alone during that time frame, and just because it's so critical for them to get those eggs in production and create next generation of fish for our bodies of water. Yeah, and then eventually the big dog, the muskies open up, and then it's go time.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Since they're not open yet,
I mean, I'm sure someone
I
might
don't want
have,
to bomb them because I want to
yeah.
get them on camera. Let's go back to the kitchen and just look
Okay.
around and kind of come up with our plan. I think I
Okay.
can see what's going on there.
Sure.
We're going to try to do something